And, okay. Oops. Finally, okay. So, I'm going to start out with the breathing. And I thought we would try kind of some different things that you can kind of do at home. And one of the things that the Tai Chi has, it has what we call joint hands. Okay, and so it's contact with a partner that right now, because we don't have any in-person classes, we really can't do. But there are certain things we can do that teach you kind of the feel, okay, of the push hands. And so what I'm going to do, I think everybody here probably has a staff, okay? And the movement, ward off, is your basic. Now you can do a version of this with an Aikido triangle, which we've kind of gone over a little bit, but we're going to still stick to the Tai Chi or square posture. Okay, so what I'm going to, if you have one, and then you put it here, and we're going to go into, yeah, this is a ward off position. Okay, now what I'm going to do is rotate the hip and then place the other hand here. Notice how right here, we're slowing it down. And we're keeping the contact. And now you can the sense is that you are keeping the contact. And you're moving your waist. And now you can also switch sides. But you know, if I move too quickly, that happens. It happens anyway sometimes. I'm replacing that hand. It's not just, see, if I just move the arms, I push the staff away. But keeping the contact, rotating the hip, and being able to transfer it from hand to hand. You know, it's slippery sometimes. Like, for example, if force is coming at you, you can ward it off this way. Force is coming at you. Something coming at you, not blocking, pushing, but deflecting. As we go here, we can pick up the other side. And so you can get somewhat the feel of the pushing hands with now here, for example, the there's single-handed ward off. But there's also kind of right here, you can just put the cross hands position and just practice this way. And later we'll kind of work a little bit of footwork. The game is to keep the contact. Keep the contact. And the movement is circular. It's not, see, if I go to side, it just goes out and back. In, out. In, other hand out. Okay? In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Now here I'm adding weight shifting, shifting the weight back, Shifting the weight forward, trying to keep the contact. And this is a way of developing some of what you would get with the pushing hands or the master taught preferred the term joint hands as opposed to push hands. Now here, you can let it go and then ward it off. Whew. Okay, so let me check in a little bit. Anybody with a observation on that one? In other words, you're shifting the weight back. Now you're shifting the weight forward, back.
That's deceptively difficult.
Yeah, yes, Joe.
It's deceptively difficult. It's much harder than it looks.
Yeah, because if you muscle it, you knock the stick away. You know, if somebody's coming at you, the ability to just ward off. Like one hand over here, boom, the other hand. There are a lot of moves, you know, that in Tai Chi, you're attaching right here. The other hand, for example, brush knee. Something's coming at you, ward off, brush knee. Okay, so you can practice. Now here, there's motion, you can let it go. And if I'm too tense, I knock it away, but you know. Okay, so you can practice letting it come to you. So here, that way, it starts to slip, but feel, remain attached, one hand or the other. Right? And you get the feeling of flow this way. Flow, something coming at you, you attach, deflect. Change sides. Yeah, okay. Anybody observation on that, Cliff? If you're there, anything you want to add there?
I think Yara summed it up well. It's deceptively difficult.
Did you get any joint hands practice when you were doing Tai Chi? I think you've done some Tai Chi earlier.
Yeah, I've done push hands with several teachers.
Okay.
And I have a friend, Nick, in Oakland, who does Tai Chi, different style. And he did push hands with me once, but it was like competitive push hands. And he was really, really, really good at it. And I'm like, oh, there's this whole universe of push hands that is beyond what I've done. So
well, yeah, for example, here, you know, what we do then with the person, see, I'm palm facing me. Then the other person receives by going palm facing them. Okay. And you can do the same thing on the other side. And depending on
how I've always done it. Or
yeah,
two
you can
hands.
go all the way here. So you can, you know, if you go this way, you usually get uprooted. It's just a form of, I guess, Kokyu Ho, but with Tai Chi. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's something you can do, just to kind of, you know, it's sensitivity training. When force is coming at you, see if you go like that, tense, right? But you know what you're doing is you're just practicing. You can, you know, if you really want to work a little higher, you can do the same thing down here. It's more, it become more like Swati Waza, right? So this sort of motion can be, it can, doesn't substitute for working with a partner, but these days working with a partner is harder. When we eventually get to the 3rd Street location, we'll see about getting some in-person Tai Chi going, and then we'll do some of the joint hands. Okay. Anyway, so that's something I kind of wanted to share a bit. Okay. So this is something that we have been, we're going to get to just doing kind of the form for a bit. But what I really want to do is just practice I've been doing a little bit. Okay. And I've kind of mentioned this in a couple of the intros. Is one of the great Yang style masters, Yang Cheng Fu. Eventually, he got to where he just practiced 3 movements. 3 movements. Okay? The first one was single whip. Second one, raised hands. The third one was repulse the monkey. Okay? And single whip is about energy expanding. Okay. There was a story of a couple of MMA guys in South America that went into it with a couple of ordinary people, but they were street people, so they were probably streetwise. And the 2 MMA guys got stomped. That one got put in a coma, all right? And what happened is they're not used to somebody picked a 2x4 and just went like that. Okay, but let's look at this. Somebody is coming at you this way. Now you don't want to do this, but if you get into right about here, you see where that is single whip. Boom. This is kind of called the monkey's fist, and striking motion. So single whip. Boom. See, what we do is a combination Aikido, you move in this way, triangularly. In Tai Chi, you move circle to square, boom, to the body. And then maybe do some Aikido, you take the staff or the 2x4 away. This is about energy. It's contracted energy. Right? Now, technically, if you go this side, it's play the fiddle. This side, raised hands. Okay, the other one is Repulse Monkey. So there are 3 sets he did. So something I've been kind of playing around with a bit. Okay, what if we were just to do those 3? Okay, so starting out with, well, we go back here. We have raised hands. Okay, now Repulse Monkey. We go the other side for single whip. Raised hands. Okay, from here, back, repulse the monkey. Now, I don't know if you practice it that way, but what you see with the single whip motion is you see some of the ward off movements. All right. This is also a ward off motion. Stepping back, repulsing the monkey. But one thing here, that ward off motion puts you inside, boom, for the counterattack. It's not so much a 1, 2 as it is boom, that motion. Okay? So, you know, if you go from here, then back all of a sudden, and the hand here, you're warding off a strike coming. You're on the inside, not out there, but inside, boom. There's that motion. I mentioned that I've watched some clips of Muhammad Ali, and he's dancing backwards. Guys come in and said, boom, he goes this way to the body and they fall, they collapse. But that's Repulse Monkey, right? That's Western boxing. There's a lot of boom. Sting, you know, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Muhammad Ali understood yin yang. Okay, so when he would sting, boom, and he hit to the body, and the boxer that was pursuing him would just fall down off of that. And he was going backward when he did. That's Repulse Monkey. Okay, so what I'd like you to try. I mean, you can start with anyway. I start single whip. Now from here, you could go this way. Okay. And try that. Don't repeat any of those, but go. We're trying to confine it to 3 moves: single whip, raised hands, repulse the monkey. Now, obviously, young Cheng Fu practiced the full set for a long time, but as he really progressed, he just worked on 3 moves. It was those 3 moves, apparently. Okay. Anybody with a question or observation on kind of doing that? After a while, you know, you can start out, for example, I'm starting out over here. All right. The other side, this is the other side for single whip. But then again, you know, right about here, Repulse Monkey, raised hands the other side. Okay. Repulse Monkey, single whip. So you can practice it that way too. I mean, it's a point where sometimes, I mean, yeah, we do the actual full set of 30 or 54, but you can specialize in 3, okay? So give it another second or 2 and see what you come up with. Anybody care to offer anything?
Yeah, that's really good for coordination.
Yeah.
Really helps.
No, I mean, yeah, it actually is. I I mean, well, for me, the most deceptive one is the repulse the monkey motion, because you're actually deflecting, countering that way. And if somebody is thinking 1, 2, you're one and you're inside there. Okay, so anybody else with anything on just specializing in those 3 movements?
Some of the transitions work better when you change direction and some don't.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Like, for example, if you go repulse the monkey here, well, one thing you can do, you can single whip on the other side. If you adjust, you can, this is raise hands on the other side, okay? And you can repulse the monkey, right? Single whip. Raised hands. Repulse the monkey, maybe repeat repulse the monkey more times than that. Single whip. And what that really does is it kind of forces you, you're used to the flow within the form. And so to follow the flow within these 3 movements is actually kind of liberating. Now, another way of practicing that is what oftentimes is referred to as post-practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into single whip, and I'm going to count breaths, okay? I'm going to see if I can get into up to 100 breaths. Now be careful on this one, because that's a lot more demanding. Okay, but post-stance practice is another alternate way of building your chi up. Okay, so if you want to go. I'm going to sort of admit it and make it up to 30, okay? See if you can make the 30. And for me, that's about 30. So, yeah, we're not going to keep on, you can build it up if you want, but it's a different type of practice. Okay. Now, anybody with a comment on that? That's a different way of doing it. Master Choi once told me I should do this for a half hour to build a chi up. And what I found is if I counted about 1,000 breaths, that was about it. I wouldn't want to try it right now. You know, you've got to build up. Okay, I couldn't do that the first time I tried it. But I made it to 30. Anybody with a thought on the pose stance, or anybody take any pose? I think a lot of what Master Yang Cheng Fu did was probably do the post practice this way. Anybody?
When I
Yeah.
got to 30, which was a little before you got to 30, I
Okay.
switched sides because my arm that was extended was falling asleep.
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, I don't know this, but I would think that, you could, do the movement, those three postures, but you could also do, what's called post practice. Okay. Now the other one would be, now, raise hands, you're on the heel, but here you put the foot there, but you keep your weight back. And so you go this way and see if we can do 30 here. So for me, that's 30. That's a harder one. You put the right foot down fully, but the weight is still back. About 90% on the rear leg. Anybody with a question or anything to add to that? It's just, it's a type of practice. I sort of think somehow that Master Yang Cheng Fu did a lot of post practice with the single whip and the raised hands. I don't know that, Repulse Monkey. Repulse Monkey is about motion.
So
Yeah,
this is your.
Yeah.
So you get different things, right? I mean, like whatever attributes you're trying to get from the form would be different than the post practice, right?
well,
Like,
I would say that if you're going to practice, you should do the pushing hands and or the post practice before you do your regular Tai Chi practice.
Huh.
Yeah, in other words, he really considered the regular Tai Chi to be the major thing, but he kind of gave me a little bit of homework to do.
but
So,
like, okay,
yeah.
what's the quality that you're getting from the other practices that maybe you don't get from the form? Like,
Yeah, well, the pushing hands, the joint hands,
yeah,
you get to work with a partner, you get to actually feel what's going on, okay? And, the post practice, you're developing a certain amount of willpower. You don't want to think of it as strictly just gussing it out, but there's a certain relationship between will and energy. So, if somebody said, Jack, do 1,000 breaths right now, I guess I don't think I can. The question is, would I want to build up to it or not? I don't know how long it took me, but I used to do that. And then I was crazy, so I would then do 3 long forms. So I do the half-hour post, and then I do 3 long forms is about an hour. Yeah, it was just something I was doing. I was in grad school. I didn't want to do the graduate work, and so I did a lot of Tai Chi. It's not Tai Chi something you can do on your own. But I thought what we do is we go into then the form after having done a little bit of, like working on those 3 postures or 3 movements, and then a little bit of the post stance. And then we'll see, what that does to the regular Tai Chi. Okay, now we're kind of doing a little bit here. We put some IKEA stuff in here. So I'm not sure I can do a 54 movements, but we can definitely go through the 30. And we'll just see if this, there's a bunch of stuff we're going to put in a different room. But for right now, everything is packed in here. So let's do that. Let's go through the 30 movements. Okay. So that's a bit of Tai Chi. about a 5-minute form. Anybody notice anything after having done the post practice? How the form felt, maybe different or?
It flowed pretty well for me.
Yeah, because the post is specific. There's energy moving, even though you're not moving. And so that tends to kind of go back to movement in the form. You tend to go, yes. So that's one of the values of the post practice. Anybody else? Okay, then what I'm going to have you do, start with me, go through the 30 movements once by yourself, okay? Okay. So, any questions come up with that second set?
All right, this is Yaro again.
Yes.
I see after needle to the bottom of the C, and you kind of come up like this. Can I just see it a couple times?
Actually, I was going to ask for needle at C bottom itself. So if you could start with that. And
You go up onto the toes, but you don't stand up. Extend the arm out. Keep the weight down. Bring the left toe into Dingbo position. Keep the weight back. Okay, so if we look at it from the side. You're not going this way. The arm just goes this way. But the body gives the arm the illusion it's going that way. The arm just goes this way. Okay. Fine. And sorry. Now here, you form a circle, right palm down, left palm face away, straight ahead step, nose, navel, face the knee. Okay. Left hand goes out, nose hip bite, right hand comes back. Practice the same position as spreads his wings. I'll do it from this angle. I'll do it from this angle. Okay. Anything more about Yara? Did that answer your question about fan back?
Yeah, my elbow keeps coming up like this, and it's actually starting to hurt my shoulder. So I'm not sure how to do that without like having the elbow kind of flaring out.
Go over that one more time. I didn't quite get what you're saying.
When I do it, it's hard for me not to have the elbow come up like this, and then my shoulder starts hurting. Like, how do you keep
Elbow on this side or this?
Yeah.
Well, what you want to do, for example, you don't want to lead with the elbow. Notice how this goes up the midline of the body, and then you get that. And one thing you're doing a lot is, you're not just raising this way, but you're raising and rotating. Okay? And that's some of what you get off of the positioning here. But see, if you're like this, yeah, the shoulder goes up and you create strength. This goes right up the midline of the body. It goes like that. But your body's rotating because you're going nose, navel towards the knee. Left knee, okay? So, not this way. but here. Okay, so. And notice how when the elbow leads, I lock the shoulder. Most movements, even like Repulse the Monkey, so I'm turning, it's really connected. Now, after you do this stuff for a while, you have your full-on center line, but that goes out like this a bit. Okay? So, it's not Repulse Monkey this way, but say you're broadening the center line out there, and you're going back towards the middle, back towards that center line. Okay, so here, rotation, wrist, elbow, shoulder, and through the back. Okay, does that make a difference?
Yeah, that helps a lot. Really.
Yeah, you when you feel strain, you should ask. There's a question, about this or that.
Mhm.
Okay. Since I got some space limitations, what I'd like to do, we'll go through 2 more sets, but back to back, of the 30 movements. The next week, when we get some of this stuff cleared out, we'll actually, announcement time. Next week, obviously, there's Thanksgiving on Thursday, so we're going to not have the Tai Chi, okay? Also, other announcements that everybody here is Aikido. No Mountain View class Wednesday. L goes in for surgery on Wednesday, so we're going to skip that. Thursday, Tai Chi off. Friday, we usually do a noon, but we're going to take that off. It's just let everything chill for a couple of days. But yes, on Sunday after Thanksgiving for Mountain View. Okay.
And I'll just point out that there are lots of recorded Aikido and Tai Chi classes on YouTube.
Yeah. And I can post some of that for people, to kind of look over. Let's go through 2 sets back to back. Okay. Okay. What I'd like us to do is just go once again, go through it back to back. Okay. Any, anybody with a question before we break? So remember, next week, we're gonna take it off, okay, because it's Thanksgiving. Okay, well, thank you very much.